welcome. Love it. Let me get us some music going.
Let me turn my video off since I'm driving a little bit
there we go.
in Gatlinburg.
Ooh, you say Gatlinburg?
Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Have you ever been there?
I have not. Cool sounding name though. Sounds like a Gatling.
It's a beautiful place up in East Tennessee. It's where me and Cassie went on our honeymoon. It's she's actually up here separately with some of her friends for a bachelorette party.
Oh, fun.
And my brother, his kids are on spring break, and he's up here. And there's a theme park called Dollywood. This is where Dolly Parton's from.
Right.
And
I have heard of Dollywood.
We got season passes for the year.
Yeah, we got season passes, and
nice.
So my kids, so my brother said, you should come visit me. And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. So this morning we packed up the kids. We're going to spend the night. They're going to skip school tomorrow, and we're going to go to Dollywood.
Perfect. What all do they have in Dollywood? Is it like what kinds of rides and attractions and stuff?
It's like a full-on theme park. I have not been in, gosh, I probably haven't been in 30 years, 20 years. Like, it's been a long time. But, I mean, they just, it's a real theme park. You know, Dolly's so Dolly is from this area, and she made it her mission to build up the area so that all of her family could do well and have jobs and everything. And so she's built this whole area up, and so it's got shows and everything. Yeah, super cool.
I love that.
And so there's a lot of conventions up here, jiu-jitsu, big tournaments are here. Some a lot of churches have their conventions here. But so we're gonna go to Dollywood, and today, so I thought, I was thinking, how cool is this that me and you had this plan, and last night about 7 o'clock I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just live my life and go hang out with my brother and take the kids to Gatlinburg, and me and you, we're able to keep doing this. You know, I'm driving.
We are.
And what it made me think about is, of course, you're working on your stuff right now,
right?
But with your clients, if you're working on my stuff, I am pretty much doing the exact same thing. I'm only partially present.
Right.
And so, I mean, you can get really, really important stuff done. I mean, your friend Aaron, he usually sits at a pub and eats peanuts or something, right?
Right.
Watches sports. I usually go for a walk.
Right.
I've just happened to be driving. And so, if someone's watching this, just imagine, especially if you're part of the entrepreneurial operating system or the 12-week year, you've got big quarterly plans. Imagine getting your biggest quarterly plan done. Basically, Zach doing it for you while you're on the phone with him over a couple weeks. Because, that's really how it is. You've got all these tools and you knock it out. And the reason it gets done so quick is because I'm partially present. So when you have questions or need feedback, I can give it. But then for the most part, you're just working away with AI and all these tools. And so I wanted to just kind of share that. That's been my experience when we work together. It's really no different than this. I'm partially present doing something else. I can't be programming. I can't be doing deep work. But I don't have to just be sitting there. And it's kind of a superpower of yours. You got a quick start and a get things done. You can edit and refine it.
Right.
Without really kind of I don't know. So I just wanted to share that for people watching it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So I mean, it really is. This way of working, I've learned is somewhat unique, but it tends to be pretty powerful for the right people. Where, if you're struggling to get something done, If there's something that you want to move forward quickly, and you want to have some good insights on it while also moving forward quickly. And shoot, if you found that you're really busy and you kind of got all these other things that you need to get done, but you still want to get this stuff done. What it typically looks like for me, I mean, any of my clients, they may or may not be in front of a computer. They may be on their phone. They may be dialing into something. Really, the biggest thing that I need in order to accomplish what I need is I need a live person who's able to answer questions when I have them, and also be comfortable with the reality that I may not have questions the whole time, right? It may be that I ask a couple of questions, I talk something through, I think something out, and I get to work and I build it, and we see if it's what we're looking for, if it's what we needed or not. And they're not typically short meetings, but they are pretty powerful, impactful meetings. So yeah, indeed. Yeah, if anybody's ready to do that, by the way, if you want to see if I might be a good fit to help you get done what you need to get done, reach out, zachhammer.me. There's a link on there that says work with me whenever you're ready, whenever that makes sense. There's lots of different ways that people can work with me, all the way from one-on-one to group coaching to getting access to courses and things like that. And there's a work with me page that kind of has all the details on that. So yeah, feel free to check that out. Today though, on Get Shipped Done, we are planning on moving forward on our mid-ticket offer that we're working on right now. And so where are we in that process? Well, we have our promo running. So people who are following this, you actually are hopefully seeing posts come from me on Facebook. There's also emails going out. So those are out. Those are running. We've already made at least one sale, kind of a sale and a half. One person wants to buy, but hasn't pulled the trigger yet. So I gotta get him some more information for that. So there's progress on a few things. I've had a few people mention that they're interested. One person pulled the trigger specifically. So yeah, we've been following up, doing that process. But while that promo's running, now we're in the process of, we got to get ready. The mid-ticket delivery is this Thursday. So that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to work on getting all the assets that we need in order to actually deliver on the promise of this course. And so what that typically looks like for me is putting together and developing out the curriculum, figuring out what needs to be on my slides specifically, building those slides out so that I have everything that I need to deliver. So this is a little bit of thinking through, making sure I have my I's dotted, my T's crossed, so that when it comes time to actually turn on the camera and present this information, that I kind of know what I'm flowing people through. So really, this is kind of putting myself into the future and saying, okay, if I'm going to deliver this on Thursday, what do I need in order to do that? And that's what we're crafting here. So some things, we've already done a little bit of this in terms of thinking through what that looks like. That's what was necessary in order to put the offer together itself. Thing that's different here is just really drilling in on making sure what all needs to be in the curriculum, what we need to teach people, that sort of thing. And so that, and having whatever I'm going to present off of, and having whatever tools I need to give people. So first step on this is going to be for me to pull up what we've already put together. So let me go ahead and do that. Share my screen. Your screen. There we go. Screen 2. Here we go. And I do assume we have some people watching with us. If you're watching, feel free to drop a comment. Let us know you're here. If you have any questions, that's part of the nature of this as well, is that if you have questions that you want me to answer, more than happy to. Trying to show people really what my process is. And if you're here live with us, you're kind of get access to some coaching that you might not get access to if you weren't showing up live. So take advantage of that for sure. All right, so we have our effortless content system project here. And actually, you know what? Part of what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw up a banner that says, have questions? Ask in the comments. Happy to interact. And I wanted that one to scroll. Boom. There we go. And then show. Hey, look, now we got a banner running that's reminding people of that same thing, so I don't have to keep remembering to do that. Okay. We got our email sequence, got the sales page. All right. Minimalist icon. What did we cover in this one? This one, we have our one sheet. We have our productize your genius. And then we have this. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to come into Obsidian. I'm going to open up my my business. What is that called here? Let me productize your genius. I kind of need to backtrack into the document name itself. Here we go. We got this one, and then this one. Okay, so MidTicket offer, core components. MidTicket offers guide to that one, and then I think this might be the one that I'm looking for. Yeah, so we're looking for the curriculum template. We're looking for, yeah, let me pull that up real quick. So we're looking for the quick curriculum template. And then we want to make sure that we're putting together our resources and tools. Let's see, MidTicket offers. Which one am I looking for? Come on, click. There we go. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna upload this one too. So this one has kind of my process that I'm going through here. I'm gonna upload that into Claude here so that it knows what we're working on. And then I'm going.
I gotta say your prompts are pretty cool too.
Which prompts you mean? Or what do you see in that
for this productize your genius? Your productize your genius, and just how you're gonna put all this together now. I'm excited to see it once again.
That sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to do voice to text to do this next step of the process. And I'm just going to lay out what I'm looking for. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change this to the extended mode for a 3.7 Sonnet. That'll make it think through this process a little bit more, and it gives it a little bit more ability to really flesh these things out. So yeah, here. I won't be able to hear you for a second, but you should be able to hear me. So give me just a second. What I want you to do is go ahead and develop out the quick curriculum based on the sales page and effortless content system one sheet that you have. Make sure that we're delivering on the needs described through the Productize Your Genius worksheet. Make sure that we are leaning heavily on what we've actually said and not just coming up with new ideas or inventing things. Ask me questions if necessary to see what tools, what resources I have available, and where possible, try and keep the process simple rather than overcomplicating it. The goal would be that we can flow through some of these aspects pretty simply where possible. All right. I do notice that sometimes, like when I give it the quick curriculum template, it thinks it complicates it to a level that it's hard to dial it back from. I'd rather it start somewhat simple and then I complicate it rather than it complicating it and I have to pull it back. So, okay. So step one, capture objective, set up a seamless system to record and transcribe your meetings without awkwardness. Okay. Topic one, meeting recording setup, key points, selecting the right recording tools, Zoom, Crispod AI, etc. Setting up automatic recording for different meeting types. ethical considerations, permission scripts, handling client privacy concerns professionally, creating a frictionless recording workflow. Okay, action steps, install and configure preferred recording software, create standardized permission language, test your recording setup with a colleague, develop a simple pre-meeting checklist. Makes sense. Tech stack comparison guide. Yeah, so some of this stuff I'll keep, some of this stuff I'll get rid of. It's still going through these. So let's open a new one here. Curriculum for effortless content system is what this is going to be. Throw that title in there. Let's move the file to effortless content system. There we go. I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, step 1, capture. Objective, set up a seamless. That objective is correct. Topic 1, meeting recording setup. Selecting the right recording tool, Zoom. Yeah. Okay. So let me think through this. So my best process here is mostly to literally just talk through what I would say, what I would present here. So I'm gonna stop my recording here on this this transcription that I'm doing. I'm gonna get another one going. Let me. What happens if I close that? All right, cool. That works. So it gave me a thing that I can. Here's what I'm looking at. So this is Mac Whisper. So this one, it just did a recording for me. So I'm recording app audio. I want to keep doing that. I'm going to record all system audio. And
what are you creating a separate recording for?
So I could get a transcript to talk through what I actually want in this. So that's what I'm going to do right now. In order to refine this, I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say what I like and what I don't like to iterate on each of these steps to dial in the curriculum. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
All right, perfect. Okay, so for the first part of the curriculum, for step 1, capture, the objective is correct. Topic 1, meeting recording setup, sounds good. Topic 2, transcription process. So here, really, I think both of these could be simplified a little bit. So the key things to cover in the meeting recording setup, I'm just going to list out some of the tools that can be used, right? So, first and foremost, depending on what you're meeting in, whether if you're using Zoom and you pay for Zoom already, the built-in transcription stuff for that is already great. Another tool that you could set up to have a good backup is Fathom. So I think it's fathom.video, maybe fathom.ai. I don't remember exactly what the link is. I'll look that up. Actually, let me look it up real quick. It's fathom.video is the link. So Fathom is free. It has the benefit of it records video, audio both, and gets you a transcript. So that is good and useful. One of the tools that I use is Crisp.ai, spelled KRISP. That one is cool in that it's built into your system, and so you can have it set so that there isn't like a separate note taker app that people are seeing. The biggest benefit to that is that it just doesn't clutter things up. Legally and ethically, you still technically need to let people know that things are being recorded. The easiest way to say that is saying, hey, I use an AI note taker, helps to make sure that I get notes at the end of this. You cool with that? And then they say yes. The requirement of that is mostly in any two-party states. So that's something to look up just to make sure if it's even required for you or not. But if you're doing work digitally and working with people all over, I would just assume that it's required just to keep yourself safe. Single-party states are states where there isn't a requirement for the other person to know. Only one person needs to know that the recording is happening. I live in a one-party state where only I have to be the one who knows, but I don't know how that plays out when it comes to cross states and stuff like that. So it's best to be safe and at least make people aware of that. a lot of the softwares will do that automatically. And so really, the answer to this one is that there's lots of softwares that help with this. So built into Zoom, Zoom has a benefit of it's built in. If you're using Zoom already, then it works great and you don't need something else. The downside is you actually have to click. Well, you'll get a transcript after the fact in Zoom regardless. But if you want a transcript that you work with live during the meeting, you have to click the transcript button and get it turned on. You have to remember to do that. So do note that. With Crisp doesn't give you the live transcription. It'll give you the transcription after the fact. It's built into your system and it has some other benefits like AI noise cancellation. So that's pretty cool. Fathom is cool in that it's free. And that you can get it added to your Google Meet meetings, your Zoom meetings, that sort of idea. It does not do the live transcription during the meeting, though, so that could be a problem. Fireflies.ai is another good one. Fireflies has an extension that does give you a live transcription, both in Google Meet. Actually, I don't think I've seen it do the live transcription in Zoom, so it's possible, but I haven't used it in there. I typically use in Zoom the built-in Zoom transcription. But the key idea is that you have something that's getting you a transcription. Any of those tools are good options. If you have to start with one, I'd start with whatever you're already using. Probably Fathom is the easiest to set up to make sure it's working with everything, no matter what you're using. If you're paying for Zoom already, built into that, it's already there. This is not really a thing to overthink. It's more of a thing that you want to make sure is happening and that you're getting those transcriptions. Right. And so you go in, you just make sure that the settings are set up so that it's automatically recording. You go in, check the settings, make sure that looks good. I don't think I'm actually going to cover going through that step by step. It's more just the idea that you want to make sure that's set up. The concern around will people be bothered by this recording happening? Honestly, at this point, in all of my experience, I have not found that people have an issue with it. If I mention the reason, I get notes from this to make sure that we're clear on action items, we're clear on what happens after the fact. People tend to be cool with that reality. So in terms of ethical considerations or scripts, that it's really a low-key script, if anything. We probably want to provide something, but it's not something to overthink either. If you did end up in a situation where somebody wouldn't allow you to do the recording or something like that, I mean, the reality is that most people will. Again, I've never had somebody who very specifically said, no, please don't record this. Please don't use it. So it's not really a big concern, but if it ever did come up, it's going to be more than likely the rarity. So it's, you'll have your other content that you need from your other meetings. So, keep yourself safe legally. Make sure that you're good on that end. That's what I recommend there. There really isn't much to creating the frictionless recording workflow. If you use something like Fathom, if you use something else, the default settings are automatically doing that easy. Technical setup for optimal audio quality isn't a thing. You just make sure that you have a mic and that the mic can hear you. That's all you got to do. Anything else beyond that is actually, that's part of the benefit of this. You don't have to overthink this. This part is pretty simple. Troubleshooting common recording issues is not a thing that we need to cover. It's not a thing. I'm finding that for the most part, these tools just work, and I'm not running into issues with them. So I haven't even come up with problems to encounter on this. The only one that you could have some issues with has to do with Crisp. Crisp may not be selected by default as your audio source, and in some really rare instances, if you're using very specific applications that most people probably aren't, then you might not be able to select Crisp as the speaker, and so that could cause an issue. That's really more advanced and more than likely something that most people aren't running into. If people happen to run into, they can reach out to me. I can give them my ideas of how I've dealt with that in the past, because I have solved it, but it's kind of complicated. We use as an external tool called Loopback that makes it so I can still route the audio where I want to. In terms of action steps, the key action step is to at least make sure that they have their software installed, set up, that they've signed up for Fathom, they have the transcription process that, that they've done some sort of mock run where they know how to get the transcript that they're looking to do. What I'd recommend is either on one of your next meetings or with a friend or colleague or somebody else from the course, run a quick test and try it out. Hop on a call, make sure that you know how to get your transcript, that you know how to do that, so that when you need it, you have it ready. Let's see. So you don't need a pre-meeting checklist. That's not a thing. Let me delete that out. Great standardized. The standardized permission language, again, that's more so just looking at some level of scripting and understanding what you're saying and why. It's not something to overthink. These action steps otherwise look good. Let me delete out some of the ones that don't look good. I mean, overall, I'm going to need AI to adjust the key points based on what I'm saying and probably update the sequencing of them to make more sense as the key points. Resources, we don't need a tech stack comparison. Client permission template, client permission script template, pre-meeting checklist. We don't need resources. Would probably just be list of AI transcription tools and options. And in that list, so the ones that I covered already, the other one that I'd throw out there is Mac Whisper, which you can get access to for free, and does on-device recording, so that if you have a recording of a video and you want to leverage this process after the fact, then you can run videos or audios through that, even if you didn't have like an AI transcription thing on the front end. But the key goal, the key outcome here is that you at a minimum understand I need to at least press record so I get a recording. Because if you have a recording, you can get a transcript. And if you have a transcript, you can run the rest of this process. So that's kind of the idea there, is to make sure that you have a transcript. Topic 2, transcription process. If you're doing this right, this is just built in. Most of these tools, you're just automatically going to have it. So you either go into the tool, find the meeting, grab the transcript out of there. There's options to copy and paste the transcript. There's options to download them, whether it be from Fathom or other tools. It might be a good idea for me to demonstrate that. But for this one, I don't think we actually need 2 separate topics. I mean, I don't know, probably, but they're overall, this is much simpler than needing to be broken out into two separate detailed topics. Selecting reliable. I mean, like, the only thing that I've covered in the transcription process is understanding Whisper as a technology is open source and freely available. So a lot of these tools really should be either free or cheap, and that's part of what makes this work really well. For the transcription, a couple of things to note about it. It doesn't need to be perfect. It can actually be somewhat off, and that's okay. Do note that if there's a person's name or the name of a software, you might need to adapt in your extract process or in further steps with AI, where you say, hey, the transcript might have had the name for this wrong. Here's the correct spelling. Here's the correct information. Do note that that's a thing. It's not always going to be perfect, but when it comes to the overall context of what you're saying, it's going to be really good most of the time without any further changes. The only areas where it runs into issues are going to be exact names, but that's not a thing to worry about a ton. You can typically deal with it later in your prompting to say, hey, this is a common misspelling. Like I got, we've mentioned, I've got a client, his name's Aaron, and it's not spelled like most people spell Aaron. I think he's the only person that I've ever met that spells it the way that he does. And so it's something that I have to account for if I'm ever generating stuff that has his name. I tell AI how his name is spelled. I've worked with a company that, the way that it was spelled, they had no idea because it was a Finnish word, if I recall. And so I had to prompt it and say, this is how this is spelled and how some of the typical misspellings may come through. And so do note that, but otherwise, for sake of the content and the concepts, you're not going to have to go in and modify the transcript. You might just later need to account for some of those typical misspellings. This isn't a thing where, for sake of this process, most of this is just overkill. I don't worry about handling multiple speakers. Most of the transcripts cover that themselves. And if I do, I just cover it later in the prompting. Don't really worry about beating transcriptions for different types. Yeah, this topic 2 is just way overblown. Really, there's a couple of kind of common hurdles, common issues, common questions that I just covered about what is important, what isn't important, all of that. Charlie, can you think of anything else that like comes to mind for you when it comes to what to cover about my process when it comes to transcriptions? Do I still have you there? You might be muted. Oh, you may not be able to talk. You're currently muted. Am I? Just making sure. Okay. If you're able to unmute yourself, let me know. What was I going to say? So yeah. Anyway, that covers the first part and kind of what I would cover there. All right. So now I'm gonna stop this recording. I'm gonna transcribe this, and I'm using Mac Whisper for this. And I'm potentially going to need to grab these again to actually develop out my whatchamacallit, my slides and whatnot. So this part of what's cool is this is actually transcribing on my computer right now. It's not having to use an API or anything. It's just going through and running this off of my computer itself. Takes it a second because of that, but makes it so that I can do it on the device. All right, now I can copy it. So I got it copied. I'm going to come over to Claude. And I'm going to ask it to do a couple things. So a key part of my process in this is just to make sure that each step of the way, this is one of the things that I've noticed for other courses, is information is provided without kind of a clear, here's what you do next. So these action steps and like really thinking through like what's the objective, what's the action that they take. That's really important for knowing like, did I cover what I need to cover? It just had an error. Let's try again. Sometimes that happens. And it's part of what really helps me to think through, like, am I clearly and logically taking somebody through a process where I feel like they have the information that they need? Not that they won't have any questions, not that there won't be anything that needs to be clarified. That's part of why I do this live, so I can answer questions live. But my key goal is, does this feel like it flows logically? Does it feel like somebody knows how to get started, how to move through each of the steps and get the result that we're promising? Do they have the tools? needed to do so. And it's not always perfect, but by asking those questions, I end up creating something that more often gives people what they need. All right, so now it's thinking. Now it's creating the artifact. Perfect. Perfect. This looks good. All right. And let's see how it goes through and works on the rest of them. Step 1. Remember, the goal is simply to have a recording like these. With most modern tools make it nearly automatic. Perfect. It gave me some of the tools. Crisp, fireflies. Perfect. All right, cool. List out some of the tools that I use. Okay. Step 2, extract, efficiently identify valuable content nuggets from your transcripts that would otherwise remain trapped in a single conversation. Recognize what makes a content nugget worth extracting. Identify different types of valuable insights you naturally share. Ideas, focus on unique perspectives, preserve your authentic teaching moments, look for patterns, content nuggets. Okay, so it's getting number 2 wrong. So let me record myself talking about it so that we can get that right. I'm gonna save this transcription. And let's call this effortless content system. Step 1, overview. All right. I'm going to do another one of these app audio recordings. Okay, so for step 2, extract, this is not really a manual process, but rather this is how we use AI to assess the transcript itself in order to go through and find those content nuggets. So let me pull up what I'm actually doing. I'm doing this automatically through N8N. That's not what I'm going to be teaching because that's a little bit more complicated. I'm just going to teach how to do this process, manually. So meeting transcript. Okay, so let's look at the idea, atomic content idea extractor, content pair, monitor, assemble. Okay, yeah, so these 2 monitor, these ones actually triggered out. Okay, so get document, yeah, perfect. Okay, so that one I don't need from this. So create concept packs. Okay, so this one's actually creating the social post from this, so we'll need that in a second. This one's assembling. That happens after we do these parts. This one is pairing together the atomic concepts. This one's actually extracting the atomic concepts. Okay, so for this we'll need the actual prompt. So really the first step here is that we are we're having the transcript is assessed first and foremost by AI using my prompt. So the prompt itself would be one of the tools or resources. You take the transcript plus my prompt, and then what you get back. Actually, let's look at that. So let me look at executions. So what you get back is you get here a second. Oh, that meeting may not have had anything. There we go. So what you get back is you get back a list of these content ideas. You get the title, you get the core idea, you get the value that it offers, and then you're going to get something that I call my primary E's and my catalysts. And I might need to separately explain what those are so that we understand how we're building up these different concepts. So yeah, I need to make note of going through my E's, explaining the catalysts, all of that. Let me get those pulled up real quick. Let's go to the first one, engage. Here, let me do that. Engage, empathize, encourage. Yeah, I think this is where I covered this. Comprehensive content strategy matrix. This is the one that I need. Okay, so yeah, we have the strategy. So what's the strategy of the content? There's kind of some core strategies there that I call them the E's. So the strategies are educate, entertain, engage, empathize, encourage, enlighten, endorse, entice. I have a document here to cover that. The name of the document is Understanding and Implementing a Comprehensive Content Strategy Matrix. I'm going to need to reference that. So in my documentation when I'm teaching, here's the way that I think about it. So what we need to do is we need to say, hey, here's this transcript. Now, what are all the different ways that we could pull kind of foundational content concepts from it? In order to pull foundational content concepts, you got to understand what the different strategy is around different social posts, right? And that's where these strategies come into play. Your post is either going to educate, entertain, engage, empathize, encourage, enlighten, endorse, or entice. So it having those ideas in mind lets it know, what to be looking for. Further, it's also going to be looking for what I call catalysts. So catalysts are ways of modifying the overall strategy in order to create a more likely outcome, right? So things like contrarian, comparison, sharing the journey. There's a ton of them that I have in here, and so that's also referenced in in the prompts that we put together. So knowing that this is what's happening, what you get back after running the prompt is when you input the transcript plus the prompt, you get back this list of like things that were found in the transcript. So title, core idea, the value that it's giving, the primary E, any supporting E's. The primary, there's typically one main category and then one main strategy that would be leveraged, and then any supporting strategies as well. And then catalysts that are used, etc. And you get a bunch of those back based on how many it can find. So in this case, like this one, it was able to find 4. And so those 4 become 4 separate posts, right? So that's the idea. But first you gotta find what those core content concepts are. Then the next step is the next step in my process, where for each of those concepts, you then take the transcript plus that concept pack, and you get it to extract from the transcript what was said to convey that value, right? And this is part of where we're actually getting kind of the foundational ideas that capture your unique voice, that capture your unique way of describing something, right? So from your transcript, we're getting things like we're getting your metaphors, your stories, your ways of illustrating a point. We're getting your language around that, and yet at the same time, we're not getting the whole transcript as our output. We're getting the portions of the transcript that actually help to convey whatever our concept was. And so doing it this way, that's part of what makes it so that each individual post, when you run the process, you're not having to you're not having to have it process the whole transcript each time. You process the transcript to get the ideas. You process the transcripts to pair up and generate what I call these atomic concept packs that have both the main point plus the portions of the transcript that matter. And then that way, when you're generating the social post itself, each social post generation is able to be as efficient as possible. And you could potentially skip over some of these steps if you want to when you're running this on an individual basis. So you might just throw in the transcript, get it to generate the ideas, and then say, okay, generate a post off of this first idea, generate a post off the second idea. That part could be okay. The reason why I do this is because in the long run, breaking these portions out makes it so that I can automate the process as a whole. So, as a bonus in this process, I'm going to explain that so that, as people need to, you could have your flow if you're going to do this manually. You upload the transcript, you run the first prompt, which gets you your concepts. And then for your second, from then on, you just ask it, okay, generate a social post for the first one, generate a social post for the second one, generate a social post for the third one, etc. That sort of idea. And I'll explain what the prompts look like for that. But that's this step. This step, the outcome is that you end up with the raw materials to then properly leverage those to generate the post. Pretty sure that's how I have that set up. Let me double check. So extract, transform, convert into baseline. Yeah. So the next step will be how we take those concept packs and actually turn them into a social post itself. So I think that covers it. Charlie, any questions or any further feedback on that part of the process? And you're still muted currently.
Yeah, I've heard it, and it's still impressive when you go over it all again. So I think you covered it.
All right, perfect. Any? So no, you don't think I'm missing anything? You're like, I don't know how you could be missing something. All right.
I don't think you missed anything. That was pretty thorough. It's kind of cool hearing you talk through it again, though.
Perfect. All right, cool. I'm going to stop the recording here so I get a transcript, transcribe, and then from that, I should be able to have it go through and improve how I'm actually going to teach through step 2. So it does take it a second to go through and process this, but I was just speaking for 10 minutes and it's probably going to take it around 30 seconds or so to finish. It'll actually tell me here how long it took to finish the process. Finished in 26 seconds, it says. All right, so I'm going to copy this transcript, come back over here, say, please use this to refine step 2 and potentially start refining step 3 where it makes sense as well. May look at step 2. Use AI to analyze your transcripts and automatically identify valuable content opportunities in your conversations. Key points. Leverage AI to process your transcripts rather than manually reading through them. Understand the content strategies that make for engaging social posts. Identify different types of valuable content within a single transcript. Extract the portions of the transcript that convey your unique voice and perspective. Create structured concept packs that become the foundation for your posts. Perfect. The AI assisted extraction, and put your transcript. AI identifies content opportunities. Each opportunity becomes a potential social post. AI extracts relevant portions of the transcript that support each content idea. You receive structured content concepts ready for transcription. Understanding content strategies, the ease. Different. Yep, perfect. What you get from the extraction: title, core idea, value, primary strategy, supporting strategies, catalyst use, relevant transcript portions, simplified manual workflow, upload transcripts, review the content concepts identified for each content you want. Ask AI to generate a social post, refine as needed to ensure it maintains your authentic voice. That makes sense. So I haven't personally adapted this manual flow. But yeah, doing this live is part of what helps me to think through that, because I have to think through why did I do it the way that I did it? Well, I did it the way that I did it because I'm automating the process and I need to get these separate outcomes. But like if I'm going to run this process manually, I would probably modify it slightly because there really isn't a need to separately create those concept packs, if that makes sense. As long as I've at least got as long as I'm first getting AI to give me what the separate concepts are, from there it should be able to go to the next step pretty readily. If I'm doing it manually. But yeah, okay. Action steps: gather 1 through transcripts from recent meetings. Use a provided AI prompt to extract content concepts. Review the extracted concepts. Select those aligned with your content goals. Use in the transform step. I think I think that's good. Resources: content extraction, AI prompt template, understanding the comprehensive content strategy matrix, content catalyst reference guide. I'm going to improve this. Add a resource of the prompt that pairs concepts with transcript portions. Separate prompts. Yeah, that's all. Otherwise, this is looking good. It's trying to give me the prompts, but I already have the prompts. Although I can use that to throw it in here. Okay, here's the curriculum. Step 2. All right. Okay, and then for this one, I'm actually going to link to understanding and implementing. Understanding and implementing. Perfect. Okay, cool. That adds some context in there for me. And then now I need to throw the actual prompts in here that I'm using. Oh, I need to go into this. All right, so this is the first one. Okay, and then let me double check. Did I change? I did not add a system message to that one. So no need for a different system message. I think this is... Okay, yeah. This is the transcript pair. All right. That should be good there. Maybe the extracted concepts, set those. Yeah, perfect. That should be good. Now let's look at what it did for step 3. Convert your extracted concept packs into engaging social posts, attain key points. Actually, while I'm doing this, I should record this. So let me go back. I'm going to save this. Just select this one, except this is 2. Yep. Save. Record app audio. There we go. All right. We are now recording. Okay. So step 3, transform. Convert your extracted concept packs into engaging social media posts that maintain your authentic voice. Key points. Use AI to transform concept packs into complete social posts. Maintain your authentic voice. By using your exact language for transcript, create posts optimized for engagement while reserving your expertise. Generate different posts from each concept pack. Streamline the transformation process for maximum efficiency. Okay, so something that I want to note in this is, like, I'm going to show my process for how I create the post that I like, but people should feel free to adapt this, right? If you have a different style of post that you want to create, if you've seen an example of something, part of what you can do is you can look at, like, what are the key things that make you like that style of post? Does it use a lot of emoji? Does it not use a lot of emoji? Does it is it structured in a specific way? I'm going to give what works for me and what I like. And it's kind of a combination of the way that Justin Welsh and Dan Coe and a number of people do their social posts. With a where the language will be refined and adapted to me. It centers around a few things. The first 3 lines are incredibly important because that's what's seen before you click the read more on Facebook and typically on LinkedIn. And that's the style that I'm building for my baseline posts. A general principle of having shorter sentences with no more than 16 words has worked well for me. Lots of line breaks, understanding that the grouping is for social media for easy readability, and a couple other points like never saying comment, but rather saying let me know, that sort of thing, so that you don't get throttled by the Facebook algorithm if you're posting on Facebook. And then also, trying to get some sort of engagement, asking people to leave some sort of comment, even though you don't say the word comment, asking people to DM if they want the thing, that sort of concept. So those points tend to be covered in my process. Let me actually go into my post generator. I think for that, I'll have to go into concept pack. Derivative, Google concept packs, monitor. All right, let me see which automation this is actually. Create post from atomic content packs. Let's see if that's the name of it. Create posts. What do you actually called in here? Create social posts from atomic content packs. Create social posts. There we go. Okay, so the first one that we're doing is we're generating the post. Then we're generating a title. That's less necessary. Part of why that's necessary for me on generating the title is just so that when I create a file around it, I have a file name for it. That makes sense. This is really the main prompt. I'll go ahead and throw in. I've got a persona, task, goal, context, formatting guidelines, steps, user fields, then content to analyze. and then it creates the actual social post itself. And so the key input into this step is that you give it your content pack, and the content pack includes like the content concepts that we got from our first step, plus the portions of the transcript that are relevant. And then this prompt actually tells it, take this and now turn it into a social post that's actually formatted as a social post. So it has all the context that it needs to know what your point is, to know how to sound like you, to know what your authentic voice looks like and sounds like. Then it's going to take that and adapt that into the ideal social post format. And I use that as like a baseline social post. So that's the concept there. In terms of resources, I need to include the actual prompt itself, which I will add manually, but give me a space with a code block in order to get that added. And then, and so the process that you do is you just, if you're running this process manually, when you uploaded your transcript and extracted the concept packs, you could then just say, hey, based on this, generate, based on this prompt, generate a post for, the first concept pack, or, content concept. And you give it those and then output the social post. And then now you have your baseline social post. And then you can repeat that until you get through all of the separate concepts that it found. So that's if you're running the process fully manually, you could literally do that all in the same chat. If you're running the process, like if you want to understand how these building blocks come together, then I'm taking the paired content pack, which has the content concept plus the transcript, and I'm then running that through this process in order to generate a post. Then I run it through another prompt in order to generate a title, and then from that I'm actually generating files off of it. So that's how I'm running it automatically, and kind of how these pieces come together. But manually, you can do it all in one flow. You don't have to throw it into separate chats to make this work. And I think that mostly covers it. My style of doing the social post isn't the important part. The important part is that you're generating what I would call like your most fleshed out version of the social post. It should almost feel like almost like a mini essay, right? Where you're, it's a singular focus, but it's really well fleshed out. And that's even if you don't post that kind of content often, because you want a post that feels like the complete coherent thought has one idea, and then from that you can actually adapt it into the derivative idea. So if you want a shorter tweet, if you want it turned into a video, if you want like those sorts of things, I find having sort of what I would call, almost like, it's going to sound paradoxical, but like a micro long form post that has all of the thoughts around that atomic concept. That's what you want to be able to generate all the other things. So that's my goal with this style of post, is I've turned it from here's the idea plus the words, my words, my stories, my things, into like a thing that's actually a well-structured, flowing, cohesive thought designed to present the point. And that's what the baseline social post is. Now, I do personally post those baseline social posts. That's often my kind of primary post type that I post. But, depending on your goals, that may not be your primary type, and that's okay. You can adapt it to, videos and TikTok and YouTube videos and get yourself the stuff from that. That's what we'll cover in the next one. And then further, if you find that you want your baseline style of post to look and feel differently than mine, then figure out what for you looks and feels different. But know that, again, that main goal is to get that really fleshed out idea as a cohesive post. I think that covers the main ideas. Let me see. Efficient workflow for manual process. Yeah, I mean, for sake of the action steps, it doesn't necessarily need to be 3 to 5 concept packs, but it is worthwhile to at least see that you can run the process separately from one transcript to be able to generate multiple posts. So in terms of action steps, it's like, it's mainly the idea, see that you can take separate concept packs and generate separate posts from them. Yeah, apply the transformation, review the resulting social posts for authenticity and engagement. And yeah, I do expect, like, when you're getting that first post back, it may not be quite right? Like it should be, you know, you might change wording. It might spark a thing to change. I do find that that's often the case for me. I don't have to change as much now because it's pulling in my language so often. It's good right off the bat. But don't be surprised if you get something back that you're like, oh, this is a little bit off. Really, that tells you one of two things. Either A, your point of view wasn't clearly conveyed completely in that content pack and transcript. So either you're unclear, or it just wasn't captured clearly in those ideas. That's part of what I tend to find. If AI isn't getting me back what I'm looking for, most often that tells me I wasn't being as clear as I could be, and that there's some nuance that I either need to elaborate on or refine in order to get it to really understand. It's usually able to get like at least 90% of the way there. Yeah, make any necessary refinements. That part's true. Create a small library of baseline posts ready for platform adoption. I mean, you don't have to create the library. That's ultimately like what my goal is, though. So I build this step in order to, I start building out these posts that I have something that I can continually put out, to continually build engagement and keep in front of my audience. These tips, that's pretty good. Make sure that the post achieves intended strategy. I mean, that part you're not really going to have to do so much. The make sure the post achieves intended strategy, because really, it's going to align itself to be around what the strategy type is. Resources, transformation, prompt template. Yep. Social post structure guide. That's not a resource that we're going to be including. It's just going to be covered in the. Well, I mean, I don't know. We could extract it from the prompt itself, I guess. And really, we should probably define that as, you know, Zach's ideal social post structure. Kind of making sure that it's clear that it may not be what your ideal structure is, right? If you want to adapt the structure to something else, you know, leverage templates that you found from other courses, other creators, that sort of thing. Extract what makes them unique, what makes it stand out to you, or just leverage mine and you know, run with it. We don't need an authenticity checklist. That's not a thing. Example before after transformations. That's not a thing here. Really, the resources are going to be the prompt template, and then maybe a separate thing that sort of details how I think about those social posts. The other two resources aren't there or aren't a thing. Remember, the goal is to transform your conversational insights into structured social posts without losing your authentic voice. You're not creating new content from scratch. You're reshaping content you've already created in your conversations. That part's true. Okay, so that I believe covers that. Let me stop the recording, get that transcribed.
Did you talk about Mac Whisper and how cool that little free app is?
I have, and I do plan to talk about it in the course too. But yeah, so yeah, Mac Whisper. If you just Google that, Mac Whisper, as long as you have the Mac, you can get access to it for free. It uses the open source Whisper model in order to do these transcripts for you. I mean, where I most typically use it is if I need to transcribe something after the fact. I'm using it right now because we're using StreamYard, and StreamYard doesn't give me a live transcript, and I find me talking through something is what I need to do to think out loud and get the context that I need to have AI help me write. So that's how I'm using it right now. You can get it for free. I actually have paid for mine. Paying for it allows me to do batch transcripts. I don't know what all it unlocks that you wouldn't have access to by default, but yeah, it's really good. I think I did a one-time payment in order to get those pro things. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I like it. Was there anything else that you wanted me to say about it? You're muted currently. I don't know if you responded to me. Perfect. All right. All right, we got step 3. All right, now to step 4, adapt. Okay, so for this one is actually pretty simple. It's probably funny that I say that. In terms of how I do this, I actually right now this one isn't like a big aspect of what I'm normally doing, but it has been in the past, so I'll explain it. Let me see if I can find the one that does this. Social posts. There we go. So yeah, so here's one where I've kind of adapted it out. Pinterest, original post, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Let's do, I think the book club was the one that we were most using it on. So that would be social posts. Maybe let's look for book club. Okay, so here's create the original post. Let me close these out. Yeah, so this is the automation that I was running for this. So this one creates the first post and then checks if these were present: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And if they weren't present, then it went to the next step. So I actually created out each of those. So let's look at those: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest. No, I haven't started recording again. Let me do that. That one was for step 3. Okay, so here's the main idea for this. Essentially, if you have your well-structured kind of base social post, adapting it to the other platforms is mostly a matter of understanding what works well for that platform, what's required, what are you looking for. So I'm going to give some examples on this. It may not be absolutely everything that you would need or want, but here would be the steps that you would go through and do. So step 1 would be take a platform, and then understand that the platforms also have different distribution channels. So for instance, Facebook has the news feed, right? And what works well in the news feed? And not only that, in the news feed, you're going to have different types. You're going to have posting a video to the news feed, posting an image plus plus your post to the news feed. That's going to be long form, short form. You're going to have potentially you could use AI to generate the like what you would throw into the image itself. Maybe you're generating memes or something, right? Like you could have it, you know, if you could teach it what does it look like to do this well, then you can take your baseline post and tell it to adapt into those different scenarios, right? And so what I was doing here was I was starting with a clip that was taken from my book club, and then I wanted to take that clip and adapt it as easily to the other platforms as I could. So when I was posting it on Facebook, I was posting it as a clip plus a caption, right? So that's the context for these. But if you wanted to take, you know, your meeting transcript and turn it into a social post for Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and all of that, then you're going to understand, like, you're going to need to build out your baseline of what makes something successful on that platform, so you can teach AI, here's a social post, I want you to adapt it to this based on what I've proven works, right? And you can research that, you can build that out, you can learn from other experts and say, here's what's working on TikTok. And you say, okay, great. Now let me bridge these two topics and say, I've got this baseline post. Now how do I encapsulate that into AI to then be able to replicate it off of my baseline post? That's kind of the idea here. But for each of these, here is what I was running through on this. So, like essentially, I have the task, goals, steps, and then I just clearly defined what made for a successful Facebook post caption. So like this one says 5 to 7 word opening hook that sparks curiosity, encourages viewers to watch the full reel. Provide additional context in the remaining caption. Overall, the caption should be able to stand alone as a clear takeaway. Okay, that was an important thing that I was finding. I didn't want it to reference other things. I wanted it to feel like somebody watched that post, that it felt like a good standalone thing rather than, you know, needing to reference the whole rest of the book club, that sort of idea. And then end the caption with a clear, friendly, casual CTA, inviting viewers to dive deeper into the book club, mentioning the sign-up link in the first comment, craft the first comment based on the provided template, offering more details about the book club. So, I mean, again, anything that you've learned where you say, hey, here's a social media strategy in order to get good results. If you could take those instructions and encapsulate them into simple step-by-step instructions, then you give that to AI to say, turn this post into this kind of thing, it's going to be able to do that well. That's a bit beyond the scope of this course to actually do that for all of them, but I will provide, you know, the examples of what I did to turn clips into adapted posts for these, so you can see where it's like you need to know things like what are the character limits. You know, is it the first 3 lines that matters on that, or is it the first 5 to 7 words that matters on that type, right? Because like a Facebook post, first 3 lines really matters. But if you're doing a Facebook reel, then all that shows up on the Facebook reel is like the first 5 to 7 words, right? So you want to optimize for those words in order to have the caption do anything meaningful. And the more that you understand that, the better that you can train your AI prompts to do this process. So like that would be part of what I want to teach, is just understanding that concept. And then these are mostly going to be examples. So let me get these. I'm going to throw them in to here. So I'm pulling this tab onto another page so I can copy and paste into it. Prompt, examples. All right, so that's my first one. Wait, was that the right one? I don't know if that's pulling the right one. Yeah, okay. So that was the Facebook one. Okay, now I need this one. Now I need this one. This one. The other important point in this too is to understand the different parts that are necessary of something. So like, for instance, your TikTok, the way that you would adapt to TikTok would be a combination of things. It's going to be your caption, but it's also going to be maybe the like the video script. So like if you're wanting to generate a TikTok video, then you want like your outline of the video itself, and you might need to do some research to see like what makes for a good TikTok video. What's the strategy that you're going to deploy there? And so really, doing that work, doing that research is part of what makes this successful. And it's not necessary for this to be really useful, but do note, like, you don't want to just blindly say, hey, AI, turn it into this thing and expect that it's going to be any good. It's probably going to be hot garbage if you don't actually know of proven frameworks, proven things that are working, either based on your research or based on, training, based on those sorts of ideas. So these are based on my ideas and my research, and they were under a very specific purpose of adapting for these clips into social posts that I could do. All right, I got that one. That one was YouTube, and here's Pinterest. Okay, now I'm just going to ask myself, did I cover what I would have wanted for this? So the key outcome objective of Adapt is easily customize your baseline content for different platforms while maintaining your unique perspective. Yeah, so I'm giving examples for that and how I'm setting up those prompts. The whole idea is that you take an input of your baseline social media content, your baseline post, and you're adapting it into the different frameworks. So, and the way that you do that is you pair your baseline social post with a prompt that essentially says, okay, now I want to turn this into a good tweet. So what is a good tweet? Well, I'm looking for a short form tweet. So short form means that it needs to be within these character limits for Twitter, right? And that it, I want to structure it this way. I want it to achieve these results. And then separately, if you want to now do one for LinkedIn, well, what's different about your baseline post from, compared to LinkedIn? And it may not require any adaptation, or it might be minimal, or it might be small. And right, so you note those things, and you create a prompt that's designed to adapt it to that platform based on your goals. So in this adapt step, this to me is mostly about, understand first and foremost strategically. You are going to be best served by really figuring out and dominating on a platform, especially if you're doing it for yourself. And then over time, you start to add the other platforms as you can. Or note that if you don't do the research, if you don't understand these, don't expect that just doing the work to put your content on other platforms is going to work well if you haven't actually understood the content, understood that platform and understood how to do it well, right? That takes its own learning, its own expertise, and AI isn't going to shortcut that for you. What AI can shortcut for you is once that understanding exists and you have that documentation, it could take something that works on another platform and really adapt it well to that other platform for you. But it's not going to shortcut the understanding. You gotta actually build that expertise in order to know how to do something well, right? AI is not going to do that for you. It can help you with the research, but again, you're going to have to test. You're going to have to figure things out, right? That's the idea there. And so this step, really, you could completely skip this step, completely ignore it, and I think this system is still incredibly powerful for you because this isn't what makes it work. This is what makes it so that you can take what's working and then leverage it even further as you're looking for more places to scale, more places to get your content out, that sort of idea. Let's see. Yeah, I think that should be good. I do have, in this document of the understanding and implementing a comprehensive content strategy mix, this really does break out kind of this idea of how you think about remixing social media content, really at its baseline level. So this is the foundational building blocks to me. Understanding that everything could be adapted from written to audio to video to picture, and then similarly within that, you're going to have like, how long is it? Is it micro, short, medium, long, extra long, and kind of the length of the words or the audio in that. You could also, talk about how things are paired together. So you could have a post that is a long written post paired with an image versus a short written post paired with an image. Those sorts of ideas. So mixing and matching works well in here too. Knowing that you can take one post and adapt it to a different strategy. You could say, okay, I want you to take this post, and now I want you to come at it more from an encourage point of view, right? So that's another way that you could remix content, both for deepening your content library on one platform. That's one way to leverage this sort of adapt phase. Remixing it with the strategies or with the content catalysts or both. And you could get nearly infinite content off of that. But then also you have the remix to another platform. And that's more of a technical kind of remix where you're saying what works well on this platform and how can I adapt this piece of content to fit the constraints of the other platform that I'm working on. All right, let me stop recording. I think that covers that one pretty well. Let's get transcribing. Actually, before I stopped, I should have asked you, Charlie, was there anything that I missed in that you think I should include?
Well, I just wanted to point out for the people watching, because you're not going to say it, but for people that are part of your Amfintel Elite, like you're showing just a few of all your N8N workflows and stuff, they actually get access to your prompts and how to create their own prompts and like how to really customize that, right?
Exactly. So it's Amfintel Elite. Essentially, if I have something that I can provide, I provide it, right? So N8N workflow, anything like that, people get access to it. They can customize it. They could start from what I've already built as a baseline and then adapt it to themselves. They get the opportunity to come on weekly and ask questions in order to get feedback on, hey, I'm running into this obstacle. How do I get past this? Or what do I adapt? Or what did you mean with this part? So it's a great opportunity to, get access to all my tools, get access to the help from me, while, still not having to pay my one-on-one rates, right? So you get that help, you get access to all the tools, but you're able to get access to that a lot cheaper than it would be to get that same level of access one-on-one with me. All right, let's see. Let's copy that, and let's throw it in. Oh, Claude got pulled down here. Here we go. Thanks, Ellie. They look great. Here, should we show the people on stream? Okay, you stay over there though. You stay over there. All right. My daughter just brought me these drawings that she just made, so they look pretty great. So these will be here with me. Thanks, Ellie. That one's for you? Well, good. That sounds good. Okay, so that's nearly perfect, but also please make sure to idea of both adapting for different platforms as well as adapting the core concept into different strategies, catalysts, as a way to more content from the same. I'd describe this as the difference between scaling vertically versus horizontally. Horizontally would be adding more platforms. Vertically would be making each piece of content more work through versions, iterations on even the same platform. That's a concept that actually comes from the like systems infrastructure world, isn't it? I think that's where I've learned that. It's like when you're scaling, when you have a server, you can either. What's that?
Sorry, I'm at Bubba Gump's Shrimp Company.
No worries.
It's really loud here.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, so when it comes to like the systems architecture point of view, if you're running into like limits on what your tools could do, you could either like optimize your code so that you can accomplish more with less requirements, or you can get the same outcome by just adding more hardware to it, right? Like adding more versions, adding more processes, going horizontal. And so this is kind of the same concept. That's true. Yeah. But when it comes to content, where scaling your content vertically would be like the idea of saying, I've got this one concept now. How can I adapt it into slightly different angles to cover the same content? And then horizontally would be taking the piece of content and then adapting it to the different platforms, right? To say that you can make that piece of content do more work by getting onto different platforms with different audiences. So both are useful for sake of how you could leverage AI. The considerations are just slightly separate for them, but that's the idea. And that's what I'm having it adapt here. All right, cool. I'm just flowing through this, make sure we got it covered. Vertical adaptation, remixing content on the same platform. Perfect. All right, perfect. Copy that. And that's going to be our step 4 over here. There we go. Okay, now what do I want to say about step 5? What do I want to say about this? So there's a couple of different tools that work well for this. Social queue, poster. Not that. Not that. Not that. Oh, what are the names of these apps? Okay, so there's Meet Edgar. Social Pilot, that's one. There we go. Smarter Q. That was the one that I was looking for.
What does that do?
Smarter Q was just one of the tools that I've liked in the past that lets you upload a library of content, and then it pulls from the library automatically based on the schedule rather than you scheduling each one out.
Oh, that's cool.
Post Planner might be one of the other ones. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Sweet. Social Pilot. Did I already link to Social Pilot?
What was that website that was like yellow in color? Recur Post? Is that what it is?
Yes, Recur Post. That was the one that I was using for a while too. Got Meet Edgar there. Okay, I'm pretty sure this one. Content calendar, AI, bulk scheduling, collaboration. I think Social Pilot lets you do this.
I was looking at a Cloud Campaign the other day. I think it's got an agency mode where you can have unlimited socials for like $350 a month. So if you're like a bigger agency.
Cloud Campaign's what I ended up moving to for a bit as well. Yeah, this one has some pretty good features. There's a few things that were missing off of it, but yeah, Cloud Campaign's another good one too. Assembly.ai I think was another one. Was this the right one? No. Assembly. May not be .ai. Meet Assembly. There we go. So this one works pretty well for some of these things too. This one doesn't do the bucket based stuff. Last I saw. What's the one that we self-hosted? What's that one called again?
Mixed Post.
Mixed Post.
MIXPOST.
There we go. All right, does this one very simple setup, best social media post, monthly calendar, media library, connected accounts template, supported platforms, simple setup, analytics, scheduling. They publish content to all your social media, customize post, preview posts, post versions, hashtag groups. Embrace videos, part of your strategy. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me record my thoughts on distribute. Do this. Save. This one was step 4. Nope. Close that. Record app audio. Here we go. All right. So this is going to be step 5, distribute. So really this overall, the specifics around this are, again, it's more of an advanced topic where there's lots of ways that you can really optimize this, that you can build this out so that you have something that's running well, running effectively without you having to think about it. I'm going to go over a number of different tools that could work, kind of what I like about them, maybe what I don't like about them, that sort of idea. And really, I think this is your unique needs kind of make a difference on what tool works best for you. So really at the simplest level, it's understanding that you want to think for yourself of having some sort of content calendar where you're striving to meet like a baseline goal first and foremost. So the first goal, and this I stole from Alex Ramosi in terms of how he thinks about this, and I think it's a good way of thinking about it, where it's first assess what are you doing right now, right? What amount of posting are you doing right now, and then define for yourself what the next benchmarks would look like, right? So if you're not posting at all, start building yourself a plan of what it would look like to turn that into the next win, right? So first off on this, you're not posting at all. Start by posting at least, I don't know, once a month on one social platform, right? You should be able to achieve that hopefully pretty quick, right? Especially with this process, because you're going to have lots of content to be able to do that. From there, if you're already posting once a month on one social platform, move to once a week. If you're already posting once a week, move to 3 to 4 times a week. If you're already doing 3 to 4 times a week, then daily. And if you're already doing daily, you figure out what is the maximum that you could start to be reaching toward on a platform while still being effective. So like each platform is going to be different. Some platforms, the upward limit is nearly infinite. As far as I've seen, platforms like TikTok and YouTube Shorts and some of those, it may not be quite infinite, but the way that those algorithms work, you have the ability to put a lot more content on there in one go and still have it be worthwhile, right? And so you set your initial baseline first and foremost, and then you start looking, what do I need to do to backfill that baseline, right? And then as you start being able to say, well, right now, I've got, 12 months worth of content. Well, you could probably adjust your baseline to say, well, I've got 12 months of content at one post a month. Okay, well, that would also be 3 months of content at one post a week, right? So now you can adjust it and say, okay, well, I think I would be able to get my next round of content if I adjust my frequency, and I'm feeling like I'm building this muscle, right? Like I'm building how to be able to do this level of posting, right? So like approach this in steps like that, and know that first and foremost. The next thing that I would think about on this process is it's almost always going to be worthwhile to batch some level of this, and I think each person needs to figure out what that looks like for them, right? So that could be that you get your content ready, you get it uploaded, and you batch it out where you manually schedule it out to say this is when it's going to happen. That's part of what I did and what I showed in my process for promoting this very offer. I got my posts ready and I scheduled them out manually on my Facebook page, and different tools will either require that where you have to do it manually, or some things you can automate fully, right? So keep that in mind. So you look for a tool that essentially allows you to do that. One strategy that I really do like is I like the idea of I build out my content library, and then I define the times that I post something, and then the tool just automatically puts the next post into it based on a library that I've uploaded. And so example tools that allow you to do that, Meet Edgar sort of popularized that process first. That's kind of the main one. I believe Social Pilot lets you do this. One of the other ones that I've used in the past that I really liked was SmarterQueue. SmarterQueue is cool. If you're in an agency environment, Cloud Campaign allows you to set up that same sort of bucketing system for your clients and have, I believe, like Charlie was saying, an unlimited number of users, an unlimited number of social accounts, for the people that you're working with. So that one could be, depending on your needs, that could work really well. Post Planner is another one that I believe lets you do that bucketed style where you upload a content library and it just automatically schedules it out for you. Recur Post is another one that I've used in the past. I liked as well. That lets you schedule these things out in advance and set your schedule, your content library and your schedule separately, so you can upload the content, and it just takes care of scheduling it out and posting it for you. There's some other ones that are cool too, but would require a little bit more of the manual scheduling. Meetassembly.com is a cool one that lets you schedule things out. It looks nice. It works well. It's fairly simple, but in a good way, where you can have good flows for this and get things scheduled out on tons of different platforms, and it integrates with their APIs really well, so it works well. Mixpost is another one. You can self-host that one, or sign up through their site. It kind of works the same way as Assembly, conceptually. That one, if you're going to get the main benefits of it being open source, then you would want to host it yourself in order to get that. That's a bit of an advanced thing. But really, there's a lot of options, and honestly, it could be that one of the simplest ones for you is I know Canva. Canva actually has a post scheduler, so you could build things out in Canva, schedule them out there, and get a posting that way. It could be that you simply set up a spreadsheet and you say, hey, here's the topics that I'm going to do, and here's a link to the Google Doc that has what I want to post for that day, and then you just run the process manually, getting those things scheduled out. Facebook actually has a built-in way to schedule posts out that you can on your personal profile use from your phone. If you're if you're posting to a Facebook page, you can schedule them out from the desktop on the post scheduler. But the idea here is that you could batch this process, generate your content in advance, and you're going to have a wealth of content because of this process. Being able to turn every meeting into a post makes it so that you start having more content than you used to, and then you just adapt the frequency based on the volume of content that you're getting and the upward limits of those platforms. Mixing and matching, pulling in tools as makes sense could be helpful to take this even further. But again, what I would start with first and foremost is start with one platform, define your first baseline, figure out what you're doing now and what can I do to improve? What can I do to get to the next step? And don't get too overwhelmed with all the possibilities of what you could do, because you'll find over time, you'll adapt this, and it'll get better and better. And same thing, when you're working with clients, I recommend doing the same thing, figuring out what's reasonable to get started with, what's reasonable based on what they're doing. So if you're doing this on behalf of somebody, just make sure that you're keeping that in mind. You may not want to plan to immediately go to posting on every platform every day as part of your offer, unless you feel really confident of being able to turn what they're doing into that and having the flows to make the process easy on the back end. But yeah, so the kind of the key takeaways there, know that building out this content in advance, batching it out, coming up with a schedule, seeing, based on this amount of content, how long of posts do I have, kind of lets you know, for one thing, how selective to be of your posts, because the other benefit of this is that you're going to end up with more posts than you need. So you could really choose your favorites and say, yeah, I want to post this one, or no, I don't want to. And you just always feel like you have the option to, pick that next thing and do that next one that you need to, just selecting from what's kind of naturally coming through this process. And that's really what Distribute is about to me. There's lots of ways that you can do it. Right now, it's not a key part of my overarching flow for how I'm doing this, but it has been in the past. So that's kind of my thinking. Charlie, what do you think about that in terms of that overall flow? Do you feel like that still delivers on?
Are you there? Can you?
Yep.
This kind of just goes back to like the whole purpose of all this is you're distributing your unique point of view, your spark of humanity. There's lots of stuff out there that can deliver generic, AI slop, generic football schedules. But all of this is so that your unique point of view gets posted and you don't have to do anything else. So like when we go back to distribution, there's lots of things you can sign up for that quote unquote distribute content. But this is all about distributing your unique view, and it just keeps getting better the more you do it.
Exactly. The other thing that I would note that I really do want to include in this part of the course too. Really, one of the biggest things that you can do is once you have that library of content, and whether you're posting it out or not, a great place to partner with is Referrals While You Sleep, because Referrals While You Sleep is going to make it so that your unique point of view is going out to the people that are most likely to convert, which is the people who already know, like, and trust you, right? The people who are already familiar with you, the people that are already in your world. So whether you're a real estate agent, podcaster, loan officer, or just anyone in the business world, when we look at distribute, really that's where my mind starts going. Is my mind starts going, like, my unique spark is the thing that creates the thing that only I could create, right? Me having these conversations then creates the assets. But getting those assets out, I mean, that's something that you could definitely partner with somebody else like Charlie in order to really make sure that it's being distributed effectively to everybody. Because the reality is, you don't care if it's on every platform. That's not the outcome that you want, right? The outcome that you want is that you want to be building influence with people who are likely going to move forward on whatever it is that you're promoting for, whatever it is that you're wanting to build influence. And rather than just adding a bunch of needless busy work of posting to all the different places and having content going out all the time, really the simple answer is to make sure that your best posts, your best content are being seen by your best people. And that's what Referrals While You Sleep does. And it does it on autopilot to make that process easy. So people should check out referralswhileyouSleep.com and get familiar with that. And that's something that we should talk about in this course as well.
Well, thank you. That's I love that. And I'd say the other really cool thing about this, because I've been following this process now, I don't know, probably for about 6 months.
Right.
Like I've been implementing this, and I've given this to AI. And
Right.
so like I've got a Claude project, or a few Claude projects that has my unique point of view. And like this
Right.
weekend, I was working on some marketing material, and it just keeps getting better and better at nailing like what I do different and like who my people are. And so like I've got some of the best. I mean, I've shared it with some of my copywriting friends. Like, this is some of the best copy that I've seen, and it literally came from a prompt because I've got 6 months worth of this.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And as you develop out, figuring out what makes you unique, and you develop out some of these, some of the documentation and stuff, and get that into projects that it has that context, like it really does. It just starts to become better and better over time. All right, I'm just getting these links in here, and then I'll have my transcript. And then mix post. The other thing that's interesting about this is worth noting for anybody who's watching this and thinking through hopefully this process, even though it's not quick, feels quicker than maybe what people would imagine to develop a course and whatnot. The only reason I'm able to do this is because I understand this stuff. I've done lots of work, lots of iteration on this outside of this time, right? So developing out the offer, I'm not having to come up with these ideas. I've already done the work. I already understand this stuff. I'm just sharing from what I've already figured out. I'm just sharing, from the lessons that I've already learned and developed. I'm just structuring them into a way that I could flow people through that information, right? Where I can take what's already internalized in my head and turn it into something that hopefully somebody can flow through and learn a little bit about the way that I think and get some of those results themselves as well. That's the idea here. So now if I needed to develop out a curriculum like this and I didn't already have this information like locked in, it would take me longer, to either go and research things and give people my best ideas, or even more so to develop out like and actually test these concepts, right? But for me, I've already tested what I'm teaching, so I know what I'm teaching. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And, and the purpose of this, that's learning something new. The purpose of this is what you already know. You're having conversations every day. This is taking what you've already done, like getting back to the beginning and just making sure that your genius doesn't get lost.
Right.
Hey guys. All right, I've got to hop off.
Cool. I am going to throw this into my document, and we are good on this step. We just completed the curriculum for this. So my next step would be to take this curriculum and get that built out into slides, and that's what I would present off of. So we are done on what I wanted to accomplish, which is having clarity of, do I have everything that I need to teach? What is the actual flow, and what do I want to cover? And having that well documented enough to go into the next step of actually developing out the slides. So that's what we'll accomplish next time. Charlie, thanks so much for taking the time with me, and sharing your time while you're at Bubblegum Shrimp and driving to Dollywood and all that. And
we will.
Yeah. What's that?
See y'all soon.
Yeah.
I said we will see you guys soon. Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.